I don't think there's ever been a time in my life where I walked out of a movie not feeling anything. Like, I literally felt nothing. I didn't feel rage. I didn't feel disappointment. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel like it's just like it was the most nothing movie I have ever watched in my entire existence of being a human being. And I say I've seen some crap movies, but brother, like at least in the crap movie, it makes me feel. But this movie just nothing, bro.
Okay. Before, like, you have to like one thing. Like, if you could say you liked one thing about the movie, you have to have liked something. No.
Okay, I'm not saying that. Okay, I'm not. When I make that statement, I'm not saying I didn't like anything. But what I am saying is that, like, just generally, I just walked out of that movie feeling nothing. But to be fair, I do like to give credit where credit's due. Okay, the acting was good. I will say, and this is gonna sound wild, and I mean this with the utmost respect. But what's the actress's name for Supergirl? What's her name?
Millie Alcock.
Millie Alcock? Yeah, she plays a nasty bitch very well. Respectfully, she does. From out the get-go, bro, the beginning of the movie, we're like, we got bottles on the floor, leftover cereal, dog peeing on the floor, on the newspaper. She's rolling over in sheets in a bed that I know haven't been washed in at least 2 months. Hung over from the night before because she's drinking on Planets of Red. Dog, she
was
her
taking
act.
a piss.
She took a piss in the middle of the door open. Like, bro. She played I have known girls like that. She played that part so well.
I'll say it for you, Clark. She was a trailer trash Supergirl. I'm sorry.
She played that shit so well, dog. So
she was all right. I'll say I agree. She done a good job, and I do want to see her as more as Supergirl.
Yeah.
But this script completely let her down.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's the thing. Like, none of the actors are bad. The casting in this is fantastic.
I'll say the villain was a bit lackluster as well.
Hang on. The whole movie was lackluster. But what we're getting at is like the casting choices, like the people that they got to play the roles were good. It's just that if they had been given something to work with, this would have been a phenomenal movie because all the talent is there. But the problem is just like the plot sucks. It's so fun. Somebody else talk, bro. I'm about to rage out. About to crash out, bro.
I actually genuinely can't even remember the villain's name.
I don't know. Groger, the bat from the Bath people.
No,
Grogu of the Bath people.
I remember the group of people that he was the leader of. What are they called? The Birkin or the Birkin?
the Birkins, the Birkin bags.
Something like that. The only reason I remember that is because I remember specifically Jason Momoa was saying it in a really weird way at one point, but I can't remember the main guy's name at all. And I didn't think his I don't know. It's like he looked at it looked like he had taken a lot of research and stuff off of people who played the Joker in a way, and tried to come off he was making random noises at one point. I was like, why is he making that noise for? I don't know if you remember near the start.
Yeah.
When he sat down at the table, he was like pie, and he was making all these really weird noises.
Oh yeah, all the the weird.
It's like this isn't doing anything for the character right now. I was like, I get he's supposed to be bad and all this, but I was like, the noises.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna say this on that note. I think whoever directed this movie has a nasty kink, and here's why. Okay.
Yo, what?
Hear me out. Because I talked to you about how the movie started off, right?
Yeah.
But you got weird shit that doesn't need to be in the movie, going back to the main villain. Every chance dude gets, he's eating somebody's leftover food that's been sitting out. It was disgusting. He did it 3 times in the movie. And it's like, why? The leftover cereal on the counter, the milk that Supergirl just drank out of after damn near throwing up, and then there was one other, and then the pie thing at the beginning of the movie too. It's just, bro just likes walking into people's houses and eating off of plates that are half finished. It's so fucking cringe.
And
why?
I don't think he as well as that I think for him to be like the leader of this group, he didn't have anything like unique about him to give off. He is the leader. Because there were so many times
so true, bro.
there were so many times through the movie I was sitting there and I was like, is that him? And I was like, no, that's not him. And I was like, is that him there? And I was like, no, it wasn't him. I was like, he didn't give off, like, he could have been like maybe buffed up a little bit bigger or had unique armor or something like that, just to say, okay, this guy's the leader, he means business. But it was just like he just blended in with the rest of the Birkin.
Yeah, the villain was just super. I mean, the villain was just super forgettable. There's no point for anything that he's doing. Like, okay, so the thing that bugged me the most was like the two things that bugged me the most about the story itself is like it's basically a cheap John Wick in space movie. Like that's basically how it starts, right? So that pissed me off right off the bat because I'm like, oh my god, it's gonna be about the fucking dog. So then I'm like, all right, just get over it. It's fine. Let's just go with this like story. But then they somehow try to squeeze in the whole idea of like human trafficking women. And they do it in the worst fucking way possible, bro. Like it was like
budget Mad Max.
Dude,
it felt kind of
like,
it felt kind of forced.
Forced, yeah, super forced.
It was like, why is this relevant to the plot? But also, actually, on that note, Brainy, I want to ask you both this question. Can someone tell me what the moral was, or what the point? What was the point of the film? What was the core point of the movie?
It's hard to even pinpoint something because the entire time the girl is like, there's no good. Don't have vengeance. Don't have vengeance. Don't do this. Don't do that. And then she kills the fucking person at the end and goes.
I was going to say the same thing. I thought that was the message, and then it was like, oh, that's not the message. Never mind.
Well, see, that's the so that's the thing. Okay, I don't know if y'all know who Snarky J is. She makes fire content. Also, a fellow Transformers fan. W. Anyway, Snarky J. I watched her breakdown of it because she actually knew the story, the comic that this was based on.
The comic was, it was very tied in with the. I know, like, the story was like very well connected to the comic, but I think to translate that to the big screen, there does need to be changes.
So, originally in the comic, the girl that went on the journey for revenge with Supergirl. So in the comic, Supergirl did the same thing. She was like, "Yo, if you take revenge, if you seek revenge, you're gonna have to live with that for the rest of your life. Don't do it." In the comic, the girl, I forget her name too, but she does end up killing the main villain, and the moral of the story was she ends up regretting it for the rest of her life. She lives with regret for the rest of her life because she sought vengeance. This movie, Supergirl is once again feeling that role, but she takes vengeance at the end, and it's just like, what was the point of all those moral lessons you were trying to get? And so like now we have a Supergirl. So like now we're going into a DC universe with a Supergirl that's a murderer, and it's just
I didn't care too much about though, because like she murdered several people throughout the movie, like, and you could tell that she did.
Right. How does that like apply, right? Because I actually wouldn't know too much into the backstory kind of stuff of the Supergirl comics and all. But I know obviously Superman's one rule is like he will not kill. Batman's the same. But is Supergirl normally like that in the comics?
No,
or is she like?
Go ahead, Brady. You know more about her than I do.
Supergirl. Like there's stories that are like written where she doesn't, but like she's kind of more like closer to Wonder Woman, where if she has to, she'll do it. Like it's not doesn't go so much against her code. It's just the way it's delivered though. Like
it's like it doesn't like she does it and it doesn't matter. Like she just kills somebody. It's just like like, I'm gonna go back to eating cereal with my dog now. I was like, what? Like you don't. There's no change. There's no like reflection. There's like nothing. Yeah. The other thing too, you know what I was thinking about? Because I know Brainy's a big fan of the Snyderverse, right? You know, it's like a lot of people got on Zack Snyder for having the superheroes kill and for like and like people were saying like he was butchering like the characterization of these heroes, right? Yeah. But I'm starting to see James Gunn. He's doing something similar. He's not too far off from that either. Like this whole I'll give you an example. It's not just the Supergirl killing thing. Y'all remember that scene when it's the flashback scene when she's on Kandor or not Kandor,
Argol
or whatever.
Argol, yeah, Argol, that's it. Yeah.
So she's on Argol, and actually I think they're on Krypton. But anyway, the planet's breaking up, and her dad is like, Jor-El was successful in his mission. He's sending Kal-El to be a conqueror. It's like, wow, we're really like, you really want us to know that like Jor-El was a dick, and he just really wanted Superman to have a super harem and repopulate Krypton. Like, that's wild.
Well, the crazy thing about it too, like bringing up Snyder and Gunn, like, so I don't know if you guys ever got into the Injustice video games, but the Injustice.
I watched the cutscenes on YouTube.
Yeah, so like the Injustice storyline, those comic books, like I read them.
Good.
Yeah, that adaptation of Snyder, the way he represented those characters, came from that version of the DC universe. So like people that were not accustomed to ever with the Injustice comics were the ones that are like, they don't kill, they don't do this, but it's just like, no, that's where all that came from. But this guy's taking content that's like nowhere near that, and then completely like, how do they fuck up a really good comic book and just turn it upside down and deliver it in such a bad way?
Yeah,
with no meaning, no purpose, nothing.
Can I add like a little bit to it? So I just looked up at the director Craig Gillespie.
Right.
So one of his last movies was Cruella from Disney. I can't actually remember. I did watch it. I can't remember much of it, so I can't actually remember to say if it was good or bad. But there's one movie here sticking out to me that is like, okay, have any of you ever seen Fright Night from 2011?
I don't think
there's a remake. No, it wasn't great. It wasn't great. He doesn't have a great roster of films here. I do think Cruella wasn't too bad, but I don't know why he was picked for this specific movie.
Here's the other thing too that we need to make clear. James Gunn did not write or direct this.
No, he had input on a few things.
He has input. That's my issue with it, bro. Like they rewrote the script so many times. Like he clearly knows this is the direction of the movie, and like we know he read the script. It's not like he just does not involved at all.
Yeah, he's overseeing the whole thing, and it's just like here's my thing, okay? And this is one of the things that bugs me about this movie. It's, how do I say this? The movie, and I think this is why I walked away feeling nothing. Every single scene in the movie was predictable. It was every hero's journey trope that you could possibly imagine. Oh, we're gotta go. The villain killed my family. Now I gotta go seek vengeance. Oh, the disgruntled hero, the wayward hero that's lost their way. Oh, there's a younger character that comes into a bar and gets into trouble, and now the wayward hero has to step in and help, and then that's how they meet, and hijinks ensue, and now we're going on a journey together to find the villain, because the villain, like you said, John Wickified it, right? The villain is killing my dog, and so now there's a 3-day timer where I have to heal my dog, to get the serum to heal my dog, and then then we got the bus scene, and then I remember by the time we got to the bar scene with Lobo, right? I was just like, I was done. I was like, bro, I know exactly how this is gonna go. She's gonna walk into the bar. She's gonna start some shit. A big fight's gonna break out. What happened? This is exactly what happened. Yeah. And then Lobo, oh fuck Lobo. God bless Lobo, bro. You want to know what the biggest disappointment about Lobo was? You want to know what the worst thing about Lobo was in the entire movie? It's not the fact that Jason Momoa is not a good Lobo. It's not the fact that like he's the perfect casting for that character. Yeah. But you know what sucks? I didn't hear him say, "You're talking to the main man one time, bro." That's
so true.
That's Lobo's thing. He didn't say, "I'm the main man" once, bro. What are we doing?
I did take away from it, like I wasn't familiar with that line, but I do think that like Lobo was a highlight of the movie, which shouldn't have been the case, but I was like sitting there, I was like, I want to see more Lobo. Like I'd sit and watch a Lobo movie or a Lobo TV series or anything like that. I don't know. I thought he was like the highlight of it.
I think to go off what you're saying too, that now that you bring it up, like the story or like, I think you're right. Like it had no stakes. Like I never once felt like the dog was gonna die. Like there was a timer, and the timer, I never felt like the timer was gonna run out. You know how usually they add a timer to a movie, like you feel like something's gonna happen when that timer ends.
Back to the Future is a prime example of that. You can watch Back to the Future 1 or 3 endless amounts of times, and you will still feel the tension of Doc trying to go back into the, trying to get Marty to the past, or them trying to get the train to 88 miles an hour. Still tension in both of those scenes. This has no tension.
I remember I was watching when I was watching it. Right, I say about we're talking spoilers, anyways, aren't we?
Yeah, we've been spoiling a lot.
Okay, yeah. So when she first arrives on the planet in the third act, I completely forgot that she was on a mission to save Crypto. Like that's how I completely forgot. I was like, oh yeah, like the dog. I forgot about the dog. Like she has to save the dog. I forgot what the point of the movie was.
Because
there
her,
was,
it was just the thing. Here's the thing: it was so poorly written. Like, the other thing too is because Crypto from his inception has been a little shit. Yeah. I don't have like a lot of love for Crypto, and the other thing too is like I don't. It was very poor storytelling and very poor writing. They didn't really give me enough to really love that dog, or even make me understand why. Like Kara loves the dog. Like this is how I would have done it. Okay, if you're gonna do a story where Supergirl is risking losing her dog, and you want me to feel like an emotional attachment to the dog, the movie needs to open up with a scene of her on Krypton playing with Crypto, growing up. There has to be something. Like there has to be some emotional weight. There was no emotional weight other than like the one flashback. But even then, like Crypto wasn't the focus of the flashback. Yeah. It was more about that. It was more about like her dad, like the plague that hit, and her dad sending her away. Which, by the way, that spaceship that they sent her in was fucking huge. He could have put his big ass in there and flew off with her. Honey, move over. I'm coming. We're throwing the dog out. I'm going in. We're gonna go hang out with your cousin on Earth and kick it. There was so much room in that pod, bro. God.
To also go off like what you guys were saying, like with Lobo and like things not having enough depth, like that's what I was telling my friend. I was like, look, Lobo's cool, he's entertaining, but the biggest issue with Lobo is like you could easily have substituted him with one of the funny Green Lanterns, a random like you could have replaced it with anybody. Character and it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have changed the story any which way, because he didn't have it value that would like make the movie.
He didn't affect the plot in any way, really.
The plot at all. And same thing with the girl that like her parents died. Like I don't know who the fuck you are. Like I'm sorry. Yeah,
I didn't care.
She wasn't even needed in this story. Yeah, that was a pointless. Well, the thing is, here. You know what? This is what made her pointless, because remember, this is supposed to be an adaptation of the Woman of Tomorrow comic, right?
Yeah.
The what makes her useless and what makes the whole story pointless is they completely threw away the point of the story, which is that vengeance does not make things better. Supergirl literally walks up to him and is like, "This is for my dog, stab, and this is for the families that you murdered or whatever, slice," and kills him. So you just took vengeance. The whole moral of the story you threw away. What are we doing? So like, why is little girl in here? Why is she relevant to the? You could have kept her out and kept that same shit in, and kept out all the talk about like, oh, vengeance doesn't solve any problems, and just had her come to the same conclusion. There was no character development there.
I'm not gonna. I can't remember her name, but
yeah, me neither.
I really couldn't stand it anytime she was on screen. Not against the actress or out, but her voice was just so irritating. Like I don't know the accent it was. Like when she was like she kept repeating herself in the bar, and then even Supergirl.
Oh my god, that got so annoying.
I was like, oh my god, please stop talking. I don't really care about your character right now. Like I'm just like,
It was so crazy. And then you know what else? Okay, this is what me and my brother noticed when we were in the movie, okay? She didn't do shit of value the entire movie. Every fight she got into, she got folded. Every fight. It's like, sit your little ass down.
She got out of the cell that one time. I think that's the only thing she
that was, yes. Okay, you know what? Fine. Woo, she gets that one. But yes, the 75-pound girl that hasn't won a fight this entire movie is going to overtake the 365-pound bodyguard.
Yeah, with powers. These people have like they have some sort of powers because they're physically fighting Kara to some degree. So it's like.
Also, speaking of powers, remember the first bar scene where she grabs the sword back from the one dude that's trying to take it? Right?
Yeah.
How the hell did Kara do that? How did she beat that guy up? She was under a red sun, so she doesn't have any. She doesn't have any powers. So how did she folded that dude? She jumped up in the air, did a roundhouse kick, and knocked his ass through a table or something. And I'm like, how are you doing that with no powers? You're just a basic earth drunk white chick on a Saturday. There's no way you're not doing that. I have never seen one of the drunk white girls at the club knock out one of the bouncers at the door. It's never happened.
Clark, women could fight big giant men, bro. Get with the times, dude.
As well as that,
if you've got superpowers, yeah. But I didn't, or you're Sarah Connor or Ridley Scott. But I'm not seeing any of these goats here. Are you?
It was. Oh my god.
God damn it. You know what? You know what else pissed me off? I gotta throw this in here too. Okay. You know what else pissed me off? The last third of the movie where Kara's dumbass gets betrayed, right? And they leave her on a planet with the green sun.
I thought that was kind of cool. That scene, that idea of this.
I thought.
Hold on.
That sun.
That didn't make any fucking.
It was so stupid. I thought I was sitting there, that is the biggest plot device I've ever seen in my life.
Let me explain something to you about that. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, and once again, maybe I'm just not a big enough of a Superman fan, but never do I remember Superman ever being negatively affected by a green sun. They're trying to
suns, actually.
Yes, the different types of suns definitely affect his powers, but the problem with the green sun is that they're implying that its effects are like kryptonite. But here's the issue: kryptonite is radiated chunks of Krypton, their home planet. Why the fuck? So what is it? Is this like the Green Lanterns that when their weakness is the color yellow? Superman's weakness isn't the color green. So just because the sun's green doesn't mean they should lose their powers. I've never seen that in a comic or a TV show. I know that red suns take his powers away. I know that yellow suns obviously boost his powers. Blue or give him his powers. Blue suns boost Superman's powers, right? And then there's other suns that do other shit, but I don't know anything about that. But those are the main, yellow, red, and blue are the main three that you hear about. Blue suns typically give Superman crazy fucking abilities, but a green sun, really?
As far as I know, green sun does work like kryptonite, but I didn't think that I didn't think it was going to be used as a plot device. I thought that was interesting because I was like, okay, how do they know that? That's another thing. I was like, how did they know that the green sun was going to do that to her? But I guess they just know And that's the thing. They would make it seem like there was a point in the movie where they're taking down a Kryptonian. It's they're making it sound like it's this lore. But I'm like, there's only one Kryptonian out in the world
with powers.
Aside from this. Yeah. So I'm like, unless they know of Superman, how would they have known how to fight her? She wasn't wearing a Superman suit. You know what I mean? I just didn't
I thought about that too. It's just so at this point in this universe, no one should be aware of any Kryptonians with powers because this is the first time, or it should be the first time, that anyone's seen one with powers, unless Zod is somewhere out there running around and has had powers for a while, maybe, if they want to throw that. Also, Chad is telling me that specifically in the comics, the Green Suns do act like kryptonite. I've never heard of that or seen that, but if that's how it is in the comics, fine. I still feel like it's very contrived, though. I still feel like it's very contrived to just have like a green sun that acts like that's fucking weird.
The planet rotating between, like, orbiting around the two suns as well. I was sitting there, so I was seeing the green sun. I was like, okay, so basically we're gonna have to wait around now until the other sun comes up, so she can whoop ass, basically. And I was sitting there, and I was like, this green sun scene's taking a bit too long to finish up, because it went on for quite a bit when she was just lying down in the cave. I was like, come on, we need to move on here.
Also, here's another thing too, right? You know what they did that confused me, right? And my brother, like the moment it happened, my brother and I were like, wait, hold on a second. So Crypto gets shot by this poison, right? And they're on a planet with a red sun when it happens. But my brother and I are like, why don't they just go to a yellow sun, and then the poison would wear off? Like, couldn't you just go to like a yellow sun and like?
Oh yeah, why don't you just take
that's
it with you?
what they do,
why the fuck
Because
do you
they
need the
heal them.
antidote? Like, I know they have the whole thing. If you move him, it might make it work faster. Okay, so bitch, you're trying. So right now I'm on a timer that's got 3 days, right? So maybe if I move him a little bit, so let me get this straight. If I lift this table up that he's on and put this table inside of a spaceship and we fly somewhere, that's going to speed up the process. Fine, fuck it. Let's say that it does. Let's say it doubles the speed. So I have a day and a half. I have a day and a half to get to a yellow sun before my dog dies.
That would have been a better movie, maybe. Like a little bit of speed rush and like crazy fighting along the way. Like,
Yes. Like I think like, because we talk about like there's no stakes and there's no pressure with the timer.
That would have been stakes.
Why don't they have to get to a solar system with a yellow sun so instead of the antidote, so they can get Crypto back to full strength? And then it's I don't
Or
know.
Even then, you're right. It could have been a thing where like maybe the first day she tries getting the serum, but then she can't get it. It gets broken. That's the only one.
Yeah.
So then the only thing is like we have to find a sun now and take him there.
And there's only 2 days left, but moving him increases the so it cuts the time. So it's like instead of 2 days, he's got 1 day to live because you have to move him. That would have been dope.
Yeah, they could have done that differently.
Also, was that bus driver voiced by Seth Rogen?
Yes. Yes, it was. The little mini. They should have replaced Lobo with him because he was a vibe. I liked him.
As soon as I heard him open his mouth, I was like, is that Seth Rogen? I was like, Seth Rogen has a very distinct voice. It's like, Seth Rogen.
I didn't pick up on it at first. My brother's like, that's Seth Rogen. I'm like, it is? I'm like, and then he spoke it. I'm like, oh shit, that is Seth Rogen. I'm like, oh fuck. Okay, that makes sense. But
what is one thing you did like about the movie? Like, if there's any saving grace, like anything you like.
Mine's a bit of a double-edged sword.
Okay.
Right. So mine was the third act fight scene. I just despised the music choice.
Oh my god, the music was so bad this entire movie.
The cover of the middle.
Okay.
You know what? That bugged me more than anything, right? Because last year when we had Superman, obviously they played the iconic like John Williams music for Superman, obviously, right? And he had like so many like moments where I sat there with goosebumps, where when he's flying, and he's basically just aura farming with that music playing, like that had the goosebumps going. And I was like, okay, like surely they like obviously they probably weren't going to use John Williams' song for that because that's Superman's, but give Supergirl her own music. So it might not be as good, but give her own music that you'll be able to kind of just resonate with Supergirl. Especially considering it's our first like proper on-screen, like big screen movie in God knows how long.
That's what Snyder did with all the heroes. I won't lie. He did it with Wonder Woman.
I was about to say that.
Like they all had great music, bro.
Let me say this. I mean. This is one of the reasons why I said at the start, like I felt nothing from this movie. Part of the reason, I would say 50% of the reason for that is the music. Like, there wasn't a single song that moved me emotionally. I don't give a shit what you say about Zack Snyder's Superman, but that John Zimmerman score, or I think it's John Zimmerman.
The Man of Steel is so good.
The Man of Steel score, to this day, slaps, bro. I have that shit in a playlist. Like, that song, and just a lot of the other music that he had.
Was good as well.
Wonder
Woman was awesome. Like, too. It's just, it fit, like, the whole, the packaging and the presentation of the Snyder films in a lot of ways was superior to at least what I'm seeing in this. And you know what? This is what I will say. And I know, like, it's sacrilege to kind of compare the Snyder films to the Gunn films, but and because especially when we're only like 2 gun films in, but one thing that I had to give Zack Snyder credit for is the consistency of tone. Zack Snyder like had a consistent tone throughout the movies, and it felt good. The movie just felt good.
It felt like the way DC should, because I do feel like DC should be a little bit darker because it always was darker-ish in the comics. I think that's one of the reasons. For the most part, I know Superman was bright and colorful, but I know a lot of people were, the bright colors and stuff were kind of Marvel thing, and then I know DC had color, but you know what I mean. It was a bit more darker. They went to darker places with a lot of.
It depends on what era of DC we're talking about. If we're talking about New 52, yeah, everything got a little bit more grungy with that per se, but like not Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Lantern. Like I don't associate those characters with darkness. That's typically Batman's department.
But I will say as well, just looping back to Supergirl, I will say the lighting was terrible as well.
Dude,
in the cinematography.
Oh my God, bro.
There was so many moments when they had the light behind them and the front of their face was just completely black and I couldn't see anything. I was like, what?
It looked terrible. This is one thing I was telling one of my friends. I was like, you have the guy that arguably made Guardians of the Galaxy, doing Galaxy movies that made the worlds they travel to beautiful, bright colors, crazy cool stuff to look at. And then we get this Supergirl fucking movie, adaptation of the comic that's also super bright and colorful and then shows you a lot. And the whole thing is black, gray, and fucking brown.
It's because 90% of the movie was spent inside of bars, bro.
Yeah,
it was one giant bar crawl.
Yeah,
bar crawl.
That's what it was. It just, I don't know.
The lighting was not great at all. That was bugging me as well.
I couldn't. The only scene for me that's like somewhat memorable, and this is the one I will give them credit for. You asked like what I liked. The fight scene on the inside of the bus was kind of cool, where she's like kind of instant transmissioning her way through like fighting that was kind of sick. I did like that. But other than that,
is that where the bus fight? That's your I liked in the movie.
Yeah, because after that we're going to making shit jokes about popcorn that was manufactured out of an alien's asshole.
Oh man, yo,
it is
that
just
didn't
like
happen. Oh my God.
And the thing is, the joke was so obvious. Like, this popcorn tastes like shit. It's like, okay,
yeah,
all right.
I don't know if it was intentional or if it was any sort of input from James Gunn around like that, but there was a whole lot of parts of it, and I suppose to an extent it would be hard to not do it, but I just couldn't unsee Guardians of the Galaxy in a certain sense.
Yeah, same, bro. That's all I was like, why are we watching Guardians with Supergirl?
Yeah. That's what I thought. Out for a while, I thought music was going to be a bigger part of the movie, especially considering even the promotional poster for the movie has her with headphones on, and she barely listened to music. A lot of the music in the trailers didn't even show up in the movie. And I was just thinking, is she going to be like female Star-Lord? Like, is that the kind of energy?
That's kind of what they did with the head, but especially with the headphone thing. I've seen other people make that comparison too. Her having the headphones, it's kind of it is kind of a Guardians of the Galaxy kind of a thing.
The big jacket and stuff. I don't know if she wore the jacket in the comic. Now I didn't read the comic, but I was just
I don't think so.
There was just certain parts where I was like, if you pointed if I wasn't looking at Supergirl right now, I'd think you're watching the Guardians of the Galaxy.
You know what the problem with DC. Like the DC, I know we're only 2 movies in, but the problem with the DCEU right now as a whole, it doesn't have its own identity. When I watched the last Superman movie, I enjoyed it. It was decent, right? But like, I still felt like I still walked away feeling like it was lacking. And what it was lacking was what both of these movies are lacking right now is maturity. It's lacking depth. It's lacking gravity, right? Like, I don't need the movies to be dark, but I need the movies to like have emotional resonance in a way that the Marvel movies don't. And the thing is, this is that's what I will give Marvel credit for. Marvel went through their period of everything's jokey, laughy, funny. Everyone's making quips, right? Which is not what the Marvel movies were. But they've kind of turned it around. Like, I'm looking at the new Spider-Man trailer, and I'm like, this is reminding me of the Tobey Maguire films. Like, this is the cinematography, it's just it feels more cinematic, it feels more grounded, it feels more it feels not necessarily darker, but it feels like a more mature Spider-Man. It doesn't feel like high school Peter Parker anymore. It feels like grown-up adult Spider-Man, but with Tom Holland taking the lead, and that's freaking sick. DC, on the other hand, DC I feel like is in the 2022, 2023 era of Marvel storytelling where everything's got to be quippy, campy, gross out humor, endless jokes, endless quips, and it's not hitting. Like, I want, like, that last Superman movie, I wanted the last Superman movie, then the theme of it, I wanted the theme of the last Superman movie to be a battle of rights versus responsibility. I thought that scene with him and Lois going back and forth where she's interviewing him, and she's like, you can't just do you can't just do anything you want, Clark. Like, he's like, I stopped a war, and she's like basically saying, you're freaking people out. You can't go and into another country, regardless of your intentions, right? You have all the best intentions. You, as this freaked out, super powerful being, arguably the strongest person that we've ever seen on this planet, you can't just go and start doing what you want because you feel like it's a good thing to do. That turns into totalitarianism real quick. And Clark's like, I don't see it that way. I'm just trying to save lives. And both arguments are valid. But you know what we did instead of focusing on that? I got Guy Gardner giving people the middle finger where the conflict is happening in the Middle East. And then I've also got Superman going on magical adventures saving babies with Mr. Terrific and Metamorpho in a shadow dimension created by Lex Luthor. It's just like, bro, those are cool concepts, but it's like, ground it a bit more. I need, like, I don't need go ahead. I went on a rant.
That's what I think, like, to an extent, I think that's why it was probably not the greatest idea to start your first two movies with this, with like two of the most overpowered characters really in the whole universe of it.
That's not thing, though. Like,
but you know what I mean, though, in that sense, though, where it's like things are gonna have to be big and grand if it's Superman because he's so strong. What's gonna be able to take him down? What is he gonna struggle with? You know what I mean?
Hang on. What makes Superman the most interesting? This is what people don't get about his character. What makes Superman interesting are the moral battles that he has.
Yeah,
the inner conflict, the turmoil, and him having all this power, but not knowing always how to use it, or figuring out the best way to use his power the most effectively. Like the example I just gave you. Right. This is a young Superman who's fresh on the scene. He's probably just figured out how to use his powers, right? We see him saving squirrels and shit, which I think that's cool, right? That's very Superman. But like, he doesn't understand the moral implications and the bigger picture of what happens when somebody with that much power starts pulling their weight in different parts of the world, completing their agendas because they think it's the right thing to do. But you see, that's an interesting story that can be told. That gives people like Lex Luthor motivation to be like, I don't fuck with this alien. Y'all might like him, but I don't trust him. We gotta have countermeasures in place. That sets you up for the Batman movie where Batman's like, I don't know about this alien, bro. What's his weakness? Let's figure out this kryptonite shit, right? Like, that's what makes it, and so that's where the conflict.
Batman versus Superman, actually, you're literally describing Batman versus Superman.
Exactly. Yes. That's the. But hold on. But I'm not talking about the Batman versus Superman Snyder movie. I'm talking about world's finest from the Justice League era.
But that's what Snyder tried to do.
That's the best. That's the best Batman versus Superman ever. That shit is great. Sorry.
And I think the problem too with this guy is, like, James Gunn is like, I think the problem with these movies now coming out is that they're trying to build a universe. So instead of just making one great movie, they're hoping like, oh no, there's more to come to help you learn more about the character. But that completely fucks up the movie sometimes. It's like,
I think I get I understand why they did what they did as well. Like, they threw us into this new universe and we're like, oh yeah, Superman's been around for 5 years now and he's already been operating as Superman. Because I think I feel like they were almost forced into that, because obviously probably didn't want to do another origin story, but at the same time they're like, we need to kind of, pick up our pace here. Marvel's on Doomsday, you know what I mean? Like, in a certain sense, it's like, let's fast forward here. And like isn't the new Batman movie that they're making in the DCU supposed to be him, and he already has his son Damian Wayne? So it's like, Batman must have been operating for a very long time then. You know what I mean?
I don't like that. I
don't like
understand that
I
they're
want to start slower with like first Robin, and then eventually move
yes.
on to Nightwing and Red
You
Robin
can't, like,
and Jason
I
Todd.
feel
I want to
like
move on to all that
they're
stuff.
placing us in the middle of these characters' stories, and like I understand like the logic behind that because they're like everybody knows who Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman are, so we're just gonna give you like a story from like their life now. And they're like 5 years into the journey. It's like, wait, hold on, can you world build a little bit? Can I like figure out how this universe works? Like how does the average person feel about seeing Superman for the first time? How is he using his powers for the first time? What heroes is he coming across? Like what was his first fight? Did he win? Like did he break a building by accident? And maybe it was a condemned building, so nobody was inside. But that taught him a lesson. Like there could have been people in there. People could have died. Right? I got to be more careful. Like there's so much stuff that like we're skipping that like builds these characters and builds this world out. Right? For Superman, you basically the first time we're seeing him is he's getting punched in the face, thrown into a crater, and Lex Luthor is already hates him. Why does Lex Luthor hate him in this universe? Why? Like you're expecting everybody to know, like, well, Lex Luthor, it's Lex Luthor. He just fucking hates Superman. Like,
bro, turn this into
they
a
threw
Superman
they
movie
threw us
reaction.
into they basically just threw us straight into like, oh, everybody knows who Superman's biggest villain is. Let's throw all of that straight into the first few minutes of the movie. So people are like, okay, anybody who knows Superman will know exactly who Lex Luthor is, and then it was like, because I remember now after, because I went to see Superman last year, like early before it released as well, and I remember sitting down and I was like, this is quite jarring, because I was like, I know nothing about this world, and it's like, oh yeah, there's heroes existing already, like Guy Gardner, and then there's Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific. I was like, I don't know anything about these characters. Like, we have a bit of backstory on these guys as well.
No.
Like, it's like, no, no, it's like they're here, except that.
You know what's interesting? The one thing I did like about the and this was like my favorite part about the movie, and I was thinking about it while I'm watching this movie. They're doing flashbacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I found the flashbacks way more intriguing than the present storyline. And the whole time as I'm watching these flashbacks and her growth and like learning about Krypton along with her and how they survived on this other thing and how she first got to Earth, got to meet Clark. She's kind of this fish out of water. I was like, this should have been the fucking movie. I'm like,
yes,
they should have focused on her origin story, because we don't actually know shit about this Supergirl. And it would have been, imagine a Supergirl where meeting Superman for the first time, trying to figure out her powers for the first time, going in outer space for the first time, being a part of this universe that she's never been a part of, learning about home. That would have been so much better to tell than this weird ass fucking space bar to bar movie that they came out with. Like, that had no heart. Like, I felt like the whole relationship, even her meeting Clark, was so unique, where I was like, damn, I could have seen more of this. That doesn't mean Superman has to be in the movie the whole time, but I wish I got to see more of her first time on Earth, like persona and what it felt to adapt and all these things. That
can you imagine what it would have been like a scene between her and Clark, and he's like teaching her how to fly?
Yeah.
Like he's like, okay, shift your weight this way. Like kind of like, you know what? It's like that scene in Invincible where Omni-Man is teaching Mark how to punch, but while flying. He's like, and he's explaining it. He's like, the cool thing about Viltrumites is like, we can make our own leverage any way we want because we can fly. He's like, so, try that. Like, that was cool. And it was also like a dope moment between like it was a believable father and son moment. It was like teaching your son how to ride a bike, but you're superheroes. Like, that's like the Clark and Kara dynamic, the way that it always plays out the best is like, he's her older brother. He's her connection to humanity, but also they also have the commonality of both being Kryptonian and being the last two, and so he helps her out by understanding Earth, but she helps him out by teaching him about Krypton, because the thing that makes her unique too is she was alive to remember the culture.
Yeah, everything.
That's another thing I was thinking about too. Is like, there were people on Krypton, there are people from Krypton that were alive for 20 years while Clark was like on Earth. So like there was still like remnants of his people out there. So like what kind of how does that affect him? Like the first thing, if I was in his position, the first thing I would be asking her when she first like learns how to we learn how to communicate, she learns how to speak English, is like, so wait, hold on. Where's Krypton? Like what's going on? Like where did you come from? Like what is happening? But do you mean it's just a bunch of people inside of a force field? Like we have to save them. What do you mean there's a plague? What if we could figure out a cure? Let's go there. I've got scientists. I've got the robot. Like let's figure out something. It's just so much more you could do with the story that's just not being touched.
Yeah. And I know it was based off a comic, but the whole time I'm like, if they just scrapped that idea of bringing a comic to life and made it a movie, like even the idea of like her with Clark, and maybe Superman just doesn't want to leave Earth because no one's there to protect it. So then she wants to seek out her people. She wants to go see if anyone survives, and she goes on her own space adventure like a good 30 minutes into the movie. That would have been great because now we got to see her origin story on Earth, and then her trying to like becoming Supergirl, but on her own way. Like, but we got none of that. We got none of that shit, man. Pisses me off.
Also, did we need the drunk Supergirl angle too? Like, was that necessary to make?
I think like from the ending
to relate
of Superman,
to white girls, I guess in modern times, I guess. Fuck, I don't know. I guess so.
From the ending of Superman, I think they wanted to build upon that. Remember, she like smashed into the fortress, and she was clearly twisted. Like she was twisted drunk. Like I think they were just obviously continuing.
Is it me, or did she almost look like a completely different actress in the Superman movie?
Mm-hmm. She did.
Like
she did.
She doesn't even look the same. It's like, wait, hold on, this is the same girl.
I don't think she talked the same now. Clearly, obviously, she was drunk now, but I don't know. I felt like she was just talking a little bit differently compared to the way. I don't know.
She did talk, but it was a quick cameo. But I don't know. It just, I don't know. The movie had no heart. Like
you know what it was? I think the whole story of the movie, I think I know it was based off of a comic, but I'm pretty sure the comic probably done a better job of like putting it all together. But
yes,
it felt like the whole plot had too many plot conveniences. It was like, oh well, that's convenient, just so they can, she has to do this one specific thing, but she can't do this because you know what I mean. Like there's too many like just conveniences throughout the whole movie. Where it's like as you said, like you can't move the dog because if you can move the dog, you could end the movie easily. Or you know what I mean, or like there's just so much of it.
It was conveniences, and then there was a lot of like pointless moments too. Like I'll give you another example. It was what was it, that black family, which space Africans, that's a thing. So the black family from space Wakanda that puts them in the spare room, right? That ends up betraying them and all that.
Oh my god, that was so bad, bro.
Everybody. So I guess their daughter was supposed to be a bride, and then dude comes down from his ship and is trying to grab Supergirl and the other girl and make them part of the bride harem thing. And then Lobo comes in and frees all the other brides, which was I missed that part. I didn't even realize it was Lobo that did it. I was like, okay, who set them free? Why are there all these chicks running around? Okay, that's weird. And then. But anyway,
he did let them go. Yeah, never mind. I remember doing.
But then at the end of all of that, the whole black family gets wiped out. The mother, the father, and the daughter. And it's just like, what was the point of this? This just felt cruel. It just and I guess maybe that was the point of the scene, but it felt cruel without a point.
Yeah, it didn't serve anything.
It didn't add anything to the.
To try to add more depth to the villain, but the villain just had nothing in him where it didn't really matter. I think the problem too with the villain, like this idea of like the human trafficking story, like in theory they've done it in other movies that aren't superhero movies. Like they've done it in action films, Mad Max. Like you could have still delivered that entire theme. But they just didn't. They just delivered it as like a trope. Like it's just like, oh, they're human trafficking girls. Like there was no that was the issue with that whole thing. It's just like, okay, I get what you're doing. You're kind of trying to shoehorn it in here, but like because it felt so weirdly out of place, it didn't add stakes. It didn't make me actually care too much. I'm like,
it was an extra thing they added onto the villain to be like, see how much of an asshole this guy is? You want him to lose and die by the end, don't you?
I felt like he was. I didn't even feel like that. I was like, he feels like such a forced villain right now. It's like he's just taking all of those villain boxes, and there was no like, you know what I mean? I always say like a good villain is basically a villain where you're like, ooh, is he really a bad guy though? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, he's doing some bad, like Thanos, for example. Like I know, wiping out half the universe, but in turn he's saving the universe because from overpopulation and lack of.
There's villains like that, and you got villains that are just objectively bad or insane, like Frieza or the Joker, but they're so interesting. Like their dialogue and their motivations are so good that like you just want to see more of them. Like
Joker has layers to him even on his own. Like Joker's bad just to be bad, but he has so many layers to him. Like Heath Ledger's Joker, like.
Well, that's the thing too. Like this villain, like you don't have to have a villain that's like super like grounded or crazy story or like in depth. But imagine just a villain where like from the beginning of the movie you hear of this. It's like the Baba Yaga. You hear of this guy that destroys fucking planets and people.
It should have been Brainiac. It should have been Brainiac.
Yeah.
Brainiac should. You know what they should have done? You shouldn't have necessarily seen Brainiac, but they should have Thanos Brainiac. Brainiac should have been the dude in the background, and Brainiac had sent like some kind of cyborg or something to kind of give Kara a hard time, which would have set up the Man of Tomorrow movie and show that Brainiac was approaching Earth.
Right. There was no fucking even setup for the next scene. Like, how is
that
even gonna work?
I waited.
Yeah, it's just like two separate movies, but it's like if you're trying to compete with the MCU, we gotta feel like this is an interconnected universe, and it's gotta be more than just you going to Superman's apartment at the end of the movie and be like, I want to come back home and have my dog rip up your shit. Like, I need like you're telling me Brainiac is coming, and this is the first time that we're gonna have Brainiac in live action ever, I believe. So this is a big deal.
No man, I'm gonna be fucking heartbroken. I'm gonna kill everybody.
That's your favorite guy.
Bro's changing his name if it doesn't work out. Rebrand incoming.
Dude, he's such a good villain. Like you can't mess this up. This would set up so much. This would have been great setup for that. Because you're right. It would have been like the Thanos thing where like for the longest time in the MCU, you knew someone was behind pulling the strings. So these villains were scary to some degree because they're connected to something else. Like, but this guy didn't even have that. Didn't even have that lore going for him. Like,
I think Brainiac. I feel like they're already underusing him to an extent. Like, I know bits of Brainiac from like some of the shows and stuff I watched, but he does seem like he means business, and it's like, we're not even getting a little bit of a build up from him, and he's only getting like he's gonna appear as a villain in Superman 2. Like obviously we don't know if he'll end up carrying over into future projects, but
he should. They should not be killing off any villains.
That's what I mean. Like I hope that it's like I don't know if that's the DC like what they're planning on doing with this new DC universe, where it's gonna be like each of these stories are gonna be like almost act like a once-off episode kind of thing, where it's like,
oh my
don't
God.
hold on to. Yeah, that would be quite terrible. But it's like, don't like anything that happened in, Superman, don't expect it to be too important in the future because it's going to be completely irrelevant. They won't acknowledge it. They might maybe reference it once in a sentence or something, but you know what I mean?
You know what my brother said, which was so true, which kind of ties like all this whole thing together. He was saying that like Dwayne McDuffie, so he's the guy that wrote a lot of the stuff on Superman the Animated Series, I think. Well, really Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, Static Shock, right? He was He was the one I told you. He was a guy that, was a big part of Static Shock. Dwayne McDuffie, so he did a lot of the writing on those shows. My brother was saying is like, no, there hasn't really been better writing outside of the comics, of course, but there hasn't been better writing we haven't seen better writing for those characters since Justice League. Justice League Unlimited, Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Static Shock, that whole DC cartoon universe, that was far better written than anything that either the DCEUs have given. And it's crazy because like DC's animation has always been top tier. Like I've always loved their animated projects more than Marvel's, but Marvel's live action has always just dominated DC, and it doesn't make sense to me because DC has such good characters. They have such well-written stories. Like we're talking about Brainiac, for example, right? Brainiac and Superman or the animated series to Justice League, they had a plot point that was set up, that was paid off in Justice League Unlimited, that was set up in Superman the animated series. So you're talking like 4 or 5 years before that show. Like that's 2 shows later that were made, maybe 3 if you want to count Batman Beyond. But like they had plot points in there that were set up to set up Brainiac as like hiding inside of Lex Luthor's body, like getting rid of Lex Luthor's cancer, merging Brainiac and Lex Luthor as like this super being. Like it was such cool concepts, and I do not see the DCEU having that level of writing and storytelling.
I don't think they will,
like,
bro. Because even like going, go ahead.
Sorry, you go ahead because I was about to say.
I was gonna say, going back to what you're saying about like the killing off characters, like even in this, like when she killed the guy, it didn't matter. That's the one thing I'll give Snyder. Like I know people fucking cried because Superman doesn't kill when he snapped Zod's neck, but when that happened, like it was a very like. You could clearly tell he didn't want to do it. You could clearly was telling him to begging him, stop, don't do it. So when he does it, you feel for the character. You know he shouldn't have done it. So there's a sense of like, fuck, what just happened? You don't get that with this Supergirl at all. So it's like she just killed him for nothing almost. It's just like at least
there was
Snyder
no weight.
put some gravity. Yeah, they put some weight on that shit. It's just like, man.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk about that too. Like that next, I remember when I saw that in the movie theater, and I was like, whoa, because Superman doesn't kill. But you know what? It didn't make me feel like, oh well, now he's gonna go down a dark path and start murdering everybody. Like that's not what that felt like. It felt like you said. It felt like it was it was this. Zack Snyder was like, okay, Superman doesn't kill. I like to break expectations and tropes. Okay, I'm gonna have my Superman kill, but what would be a scenario that would be realistic where Superman would have to kill? He has no choice but to kill. That was valid. That was a valid murder right there. He had that's, in my opinion, I still feel like that pays respect to the source material because he engineered a decent way for Superman to have to make that decision. But this, Kara didn't have to. She didn't have to kill the space dude.
That was just like, well, I'm gonna do this now. There you go. Bye bye. Adios. That's it. You're gone.
Cade, you're right. CW Superman and Lois was good. That's actually another.
That show.
God, that was oh my god. The Lex Luthor of that series was chilling. Okay. Superman, basically the DC animated universe, the original DCAU, and Superman and Lois, both seeing Superman as a dad was so cool.
That was so good, actually. That was really good.
Man, that was. You have me wanting to rewatch that show now.
Same. I need to go. I need some good Superman content.
I kid you not. I don't think a show's made me cry since when I finished that.
You know what? I think I did shed a tear too with that final scene.
That was
going through his life.
Yeah, I was sitting. I was like, oh my god, this ending is perfect. And I was like, I feel like crying right now. And I genuinely did. It was so good,
bro. And bro, it was because we got to see that show went on for what 4 or 5 years. So you got to, bro. I remember when the show came out, I had moved out of my parents' house for the first time, and then by the time the show ended, I think I had moved back. So it's just there was a whole change in life for me by the time the series ended. But it adds to the emotional weight of everything. It was just, man. Even what was that one dude? What was the black guy's name that was running the city, in the series?
Oh no, I was thinking it was somebody else. Spider-Noir.
He hated Lex Luthor. He hated Lex Luthor. But anyway, he was see, that's how you write a villain. I forget his name, but he was a villain where what you were talking about earlier, Rush, where it's just
Bruno Mannheim.
Yeah, Bruno Mannheim. Thank you. Bruno Mannheim was a villain where it was oh, you know what? You gotta you're valid for how you feel, bro. like Lex, like your part of the city was gentrified. Superman never came and helped y'all. Lex Luthor came in and tried to tear up all your shit, and you had to figure it out. And now your wife has cancer. Like I could valid, very well written villain. And honestly, and it got to a point where like he wasn't even really a villain; he was more like an anti-hero.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I didn't
Anyway.
I, like didn't really come out like it didn't do too many bad things. I can't even remember.
So who's to blame here? Like, if you were to pinpoint at this movie, the actors, the directors, the writers, the person overseeing
The
everything,
writers.
like, who's to blame for this mess? Because it's
I'm
not
blaming-
looking good coming into the second movie.
I don't think like obviously James Gunn had a bit of an like I think he overhyped it a bit as well because you said the script was amazing, but obviously I don't know how much of it like he had actual input with in terms of just in general because I'm sure he wanted to let the director have have his freedom as well. So I'm gonna like genuinely say the director.
I feel like just whoever was on the writing team. I feel like the writing team used they used Chat GPT to write this shit because like I said, it was every it was every storytelling trope. Like, okay, hero enters a bar. What happens? Okay, fight breaks out, and then a big guy steps out from the shadows and goes up to the bartender and asks for a person by name, and then it's like. I have seen this exact thing 8,000 times in 100,000 different shows, bro. Like,
the writer who currently did the writing for Supergirl is slated to write 2 more scripts.
No, you're
For-
lying.
No, get fired.
The next one is the planned Wonder Woman reboot. That's obviously in the DCU.
It's cooked. It's all cooked.
And
it's all cooked.
the other one
bless.
is a Teen Titans project.
Don't touch the Teen Titans.
No, bro.
Bro,
She was terrible.
If
man.
I don't get
Fire
a
her,
booyah from
please.
Cyborg one time, I'm suing. That's bullshit. That's a hate crime. If I don't get a booyah from Cyborg.
Even Zack
That's-
Snyder gave him a booyah.
I said this on Threads. We should go back to having the men write the superhero stories. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, all right. That's all right.
Get this woman out of here. She. How do you mess
No,
this up,
'cause
bro?
she
We gave
actually
her a
put-
script. We gave her a comic book. We're
She-
like, take this and make it into a good script, and you fuck it up. Like,
She
how do
did
you
put a
do
post
that?
out when she first got the job of writing the scripts for Supergirl, Wonder Woman, and this Teen Titans project. She was like, I can't believe I get to be put in charge of these big characters, and I don't know if the reception of this movie is gonna change that, and she might not end up writing them anymore.
All I
wouldn't
will
be
She should go
surprised.
back to
all I
Vampire
will
Diaries.
say,
That's
all
what
I
she
will
was good
say,
at. You know what I'm saying?
it's not the fact that she's a woman. It's the fact that the writing sucks.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't think
Right,
she
right, right.
has
She's
a
a
lot of
woman
writing
and her writing
experience.
sucks. That's right.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
She,
Listen, James Gunn is a man, and he oversaw this bullshit. If he was a real man, he would have kept her in check and made sure the script was good, but he didn't. Okay, he fucked up. Men have failed.
yeah.
If you want to go misogynist, that's how you do it. Okay, it's a failing of a man at the end of the day. Right?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. She was a writer, or she might have actually an actress for the Vampire Diaries. You're right about that.
All right, boys. Final thoughts. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts?
I was disappointed. Like there was such a high from Superman, and it was just to go to that. I was like, it was. I think I'm more annoyed that she didn't get her own score, like her own theme, her own music, that's like distinguishable from
music.
Superman's. You know what I mean? I just
sucked.
like even
So
like
bad.
the way they hyped up like the trailer had that song "Call Me," everything playing, and I went into the movie thinking they're gonna play "Call Me" during the movie. Surely it's in every single one of the trailers, or do you know what I mean? And they didn't play a single one of any of the songs. The playlist was quite honestly, it was brutal. It was very, very bad.
Yeah, there's not a single memorable song from this entire production, in my opinion. But
Except for the botched middle cover from Jimmy Eat World.
Brainy.
Yeah, I mean, final thoughts for me, honestly, I think this universe is cooked. Like, I just don't see how you can make this better to make me want to invest. I already had low expectations going into it. I knew it wasn't going to be bad. The only reason I was like, I'm going to check out Lobo. He might be interesting. They couldn't even give me a decent enough Lobo.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, if they can't do a Supergirl with Lobo, they can't do Superman, what the fuck can they do? Like, at this point.
I think I wouldn't say I'm clocked out of the DCU, and I don't think it's necessarily cooked. I want to wait because obviously, as I said before, we have Superman, Supergirl. Obviously, Peacemaker is a part of it as well. I love Peacemaker. Lanterns, I think, is the next thing, and then Clayface in October. I want to see what their live action like movies are like outside of these godlike characters. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's a bit more depth to like to an extent. Like, I know obviously for Superman and Supergirl, you have to constantly nerf them for these movies. Like, I felt like Supergirl got really nerfed in Supergirl. Like, I felt like she was constantly losing her powers or being weakened by something.
Well, that was her fault for going to planets with red suns every other scene.
Yeah, but I feel like obviously like, you know, your average like Clayface looks like it's gonna be like, I mean, I think somebody describes it from a trailer that was shown like behind closed doors as it's gonna be like a body horror like / dark comedy.
Bro,
So
I
I'm
just
like,
realized
the problem with what you're saying is that the Justice League, they're all that's the difference between DC and Marvel. The Avengers versus the Justice League are all godlike. So if you can't do the cousin and the main person, you're not going to be able to do any of the fucking Justice League, and that's my biggest fear.
Yeah,
bro, you know what?
It's quite a hard one.
You know what I'm just thinking about too? Sidebar, really quick, and kind of ties to something we talked about earlier. But you know what would have made this story way more interesting? If when trying to revive Crypto, right? Like going off of that whole idea we had, all right, you try to get the antidote broke. Now you got to try to get Crypto to a yellow sun, right?
Yeah.
What if like part of the tension in the movie is like they have to get to a galaxy that has a red sun. So now like there's all this danger that they have to go through. It's like it becomes like a road trip. So there's a bunch of there's a bunch of danger that Kara has to deal with, and she has to use her wits in order to get out of these really uncomfortable situations where she's depowered. Like that. Fuck, that would have been so cool to see. And then that would have been and then Crypto's on the trip with them, so he's depowered. So she's got to try to protect him while also not getting her ass beat. Man, there's a better movie here.
Yeah, dude. While this villain that's like we all know is working for this higher person we don't know about is in this galaxy, and he's the leader of the.
You know what they could have done?
Brother.
They could have low key made it like Terminator. They could have done like Space Terminator. It could have been a cyborg sent by Brainiac because he heard that there was 2 Kryptonians left alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have heard there was 2 Kryptonians left alive. You know how he loves to collect shit. He sends a scout, one of his scouts, out to scope it out. The shit with the bounty hunter can happen. That's the first act, but that gets resolved quick once she beats him, but the potion gets broke or the antidote gets broken in the process. The crazy part is when the cyborg comes in and tries to take down, is hunting down Supergirl. So now they got to go through this whole galaxy without, with a red sun, try to get to one with a yellow sun where she can, where they can repair Crypto, or heal Crypto, but they've got the cyborg chasing them down. That would have been so goddamn cool.
And I know require the screenwriter woman to come up with her own writing, bro, because she can't use a comic.
I think like in terms of it, like I think a movie as well can have a weak villain if the character story is like, you know what I mean. It can I think if the character is interesting, they have their own personal story going on, and this villain is like a background character almost. You know what I mean? They're just there to check that box of how the villain in the movie. But you know what I mean? If they didn't do any of that, it's like the villain was boring, and so was her story.
Hold on, real quick. Aaron, thank you for the $2. No, it can't be Metallo. Metallo wouldn't make sense. Metallo is a creation of Lex Luthor. Human. It can't be Metallo. To Rush's point, or I think Rush or Brainy, somebody had said like you can have a weaker villain. What would have been a cool payoff was that the cyborg that had been chasing them down the entire time, when they get to the yellow sun, Kara's able to deal with them relatively easily because she's got her powers, right? But Brainiac takes the information from those fights to learn like, oh, these Kryptonians have evolved. They got like we got to bring our A game. Okay, awesome. And then that sets up the Man of Tomorrow. It's so easy to write this better, bro. God. All right, my final thoughts. Last thing I'm gonna say, and we can end this shit. Lobo, as much as I liked Lobo being in the movie and Jason Momoa playing Lobo, they did not do any of the things that make Lobo cool and unique. They didn't show any of that. No, they didn't show. I didn't see anything about him regenerating. I didn't see him call himself the main man. Bro didn't really he didn't really get into any crazy danger or anything. Like they talked about his immortality and all that. That's fine, but like they just didn't do enough with him to showcase his personal. Lobo could have low key gone on the trip with them, some kind of way, right? Or maybe Lobo would have been like an obstacle if they had to fight at one junction of them. Something. But just like nothing done. The music was trash. I'm sorry. I don't remember any music from this movie. Music was terrible. The writing was poor. The plot was poor. There was no build up or setup for another movie. This doesn't really feel like it's a connected universe. The storytelling had far too many tropes, far too much dirty humor. You're trying to be far too quippy. It wasn't. I didn't laugh a single time in the movie. It was not funny as much. It just felt like you were being nasty for the sake of being nasty in several parts of the film, and just overall, like it wasn't well written. The moral of the story you completely undermined at the end by having your lead actress, your lead hero, kill the villain in the end, and the villain was forgettable. This looked like a reject D-list Marvel villain that y'all just pulled out of the bin to put into a Superman or a Supergirl movie. It just did nothing.
Can you imagine too, actually going off what you're saying about Lobo, if Lobo's the entire thing, he's a bounty hunter going after this person that has the antidote, that knows where it is, and Supergirl's trying to stop him from killing him to make sure she gets to know where the fuck this antidote is, but she fails, and Lobo, because he's so strong or whatever, kills the guy.
Kills him.
And now Kara's like, fuck, I gotta do something else. But now there's tension between Lobo's morality and viewpoint of like, I'm a bounty hunter, I'm doing this for money, I need to get this done. And Kara's like, no, this isn't right. We're not just gonna kill someone. Like, there's so much you can do with these characters if you write them correctly. Like, there just is.
We could even got it. No one tells the main man what to do.
Exactly.
Like, God,
dude, yeah.
what was so peak?
I think they like if they're gonna pull from the comics, like obviously they're gonna do that because like that's the source material.
But the thing is, you don't have to pull from the comics. There's so many cool ass stories you can write that don't require you to rely on the comics. You just have to have a decent understanding of who these characters are, bro. Yeah. I don't like. You can take inspiration from it, sure, but don't do adaptations. Just don't make your universe.
I mean, you know, Marvel does the same thing. Like, obviously, they pull from comics, but for the most, like, there is a few in there that are completely original for the most part. Like, they might have pulled from a few things. Like, Endgame is a bit of a mashup of a lot of things. Doomsday wasn't even a comic. Like, that was not a comic. There probably was a comic called Doomsday, but it's not following the same plot. You know,
y'all want to play Fortnite?
I could do one game.
Full box? Good job, guys. W discussion.